So I need to remove this ring and over here and not this part. But it's not going to hurt to leave a little bit of wood around there. We got the back cleaned up all the way. Now it's time for bow layout. Is it straight? What do you think? So I need to take this handle off, and then from an end of a stave that I cut off earlier, I'm going to glue that on to make this handle bigger. We got it straight, so I'm going to fix the handle. We'll fix this slight, there's a reflex in this one right here. This one, not as much. So we'll fix that, put a little reflex in the tips with this form I got gluing up right here. But I think I want this longer so it can go out into my fade. So here's my handle section. So we have it sanded out. Here's our handle section from here to here, and our fades are included. So they're both nice and flat. I'm gonna cut this off about here and then glue it up. Hey yo, we're back. I got the handle glued on right here. Now let's chop it out with the chisel. Let's use a chisel. This is an 1.5 inch wide chisel, nice and sharp. Point it bevel down so you're not digging too deep in your wood. Just using a 1/2 round file. Just trying to line everything up pretty close. And just make this even and taper up to the 12-inch mark, and then nice and straight all the way down through here. And the floor tiller, it's got a nice even curve to it. The other side, still real stiff. .62. This keeps you honest going all the way down. 0.55, 0.52. So we're about good there on this. I don't want to take any more wood off of this spot. I'll put an X there. 5.2. 5.3. That just helps get you in the ballpark and real close of getting your limb bending evenly, because there's an even amount of wood that is coming off, as well as if you have too much wood on one side versus the other, if one side is thicker, then it's not going to bend as much there. It'll make your limb twist, which has happened to me on other bows. But then it's just stiff. I don't want to push any harder than my final draw weight. So you don't want to be pushing over 50 or 60 pounds, because that's going to put a permanent bend in the wood or set, and that's going to decrease your performance. So now we have enough wood taken off where we should be able to heat these up and then bend them. All right, put a light round over on the sharp edge, because just like with steel, It's gonna crack in that spot if you put too much stress on it. Do that on the inside and outside. So there it is, bow form is made. I'm excited. First bow that's gonna go on this form. So you just wanna make a mark down at the bottom, right where you're putting that bow. So then when you flip it over and do the other side, you put it back in the same spot. I'm not sure about this part right here. It might be 1/8 of an inch more than the other side. So right at the bottom of this part is 10.5. So we're gonna go around and go down to 10.5 on this side. We'll see how that looks. So looking at it from this angle, we're pretty dang close. This tip isn't bent all the way compared to that one. Still pretty straight. So the reflex is a lot better, but it's still not the whole way. And finish it off with the chainsaw file. So these can come across pretty close here. You don't want to go all the way across unless you glue on a limb tip overlay. So round over these, otherwise it'll cut your string. It's cut mine before. So I took some wood off the belly, and just right about to there is getting close to 40-45 pounds. So I took off some more wood along this area here, and it's bending a little more evenly, but that's all the farther I can get by bringing it 50 pounds. It looks fairly even, but on the right side, it seems like there's a stiff spot towards the outer third. Looking fairly even. What I'm doing is I'm using these calipers here and measuring if there's a taper going down from the front to the back. 0.58 inches, 0.54, 52, 50, 48, 47, 46, 44, 45, 44, 45, 46. And it stays pretty consistent here. So I'll take a little bit of wood off there on that side. 53, 54, 55, 51, 54. I moved it inside a little bit there, 50, 40, so we're thin on this side, 38, 39. We don't want to take any off here, so I'm going to put some X's in that spot. Hold your draw knife just at a certain angle until it starts to make some scrapes. So I'm tilting it back just slightly. And you want to blend it all the way. And if you start to get any chattering, you start getting some little ridges on here, like on a gravel road, angle your draw knife 45 degrees or so, 30 degrees. It'll help cut through those ridges. So this side is thicker over here. So this is where I measured where I need to take some wood off. And I'm leaving this side. So it still looks like this side is a little bit stiff. So to put a string on, I'm going to tighten up my tillering string. So pretty low. What you can even do is get a straight edge. See where there's any major gaps. If there's major gaps, you don't want to take any more wood off there. This one looks like it could use just a little more work. on this outer third here. This lim's a little stiffer. So put your bow square on, and then you can flip it right over. Get a line that's going to transfer right over to the other side very nicely. So this is going to be the top. That's where the fade is going to be. Center of the limb tips is in line with the center of the handle. Up, now we can cut in the arrow shelf. But the center is right here. So then 1.25 inches above center line is where the bottom of the shelf is going to be. And then use my chisel to chop it out from the top of the fade. Ah! Look at this right here. Just strung it up, pulled it, snap, started to break. Don't even really want to hold it right now. The edges weren't rounded over, and it's going too far up into the fade, so I should have started down here and not make it so long and deep. I'm going to try and save it by pulling this crack apart just slightly because it won't move much. Put a whole bunch of wood glue in there and then wrap it for strength. So round these edges over here before I do any more bending. So much better, smoother, cleaner transition now. So I strung the bow carefully. I was wearing safety glasses. Opened up this crack just a bit and then kept stuffing glue in there over and over. Putting some on, kept stuffing it in. And it seemed to absorb it and go in there a whole bunch. Now I'm just going to wrap it with some sinew, some artificial sinew that I have right here. And then put a thin layer of epoxy over it just to hold it nice, and then just give me some added insurance. So now, let's string it for the first time. This limb looks a little stiff. No cracks yet. So everything's looking good there. I don't just want to rip it back to full draw right away. Shoot it in a little bit. And the reason that this is a little bit less down here than up here is because this limb is shorter and working harder. So it's going to take a little bit more set and eventually come into alignment. So that's why you want to go 1/4, 1/8 of an inch negative tiller on the bottom and see what happens. But if not, you can always take a little bit off, sand it. Think this will kill an elk? I think it'll kill an elk. You think this will kill a deer? I think it'll kill a deer. Now all we need to do, put some tung oil on it, maybe do some final sanding, but I'm gonna keep shooting it, keep it out of the weather so it doesn't soak up any moisture. But once it gets shot in, maybe a little bit more, I feel a little bit more confident putting that tung oil on. In case I need to do any tillering or any additional tillering. Oh. Nice. Right there. Will this kill an elk? I'll kill an elk.